Welcome to Component Studio Designer Diary number 17. It has been a while since I last showed you anything. I had a lot going on, but we're back. We're working on Component Studio version 2. For those of you who are not familiar with Component Studio, it is basically if you combined Photoshop and Excel, put them together so that you could design cards automatically. That is basically what it is. So you basically would design a single card, put your data into a spreadsheet, and then the system will design the other 100 cards or tiles or chits, whatever you have to design. This is version 2 of Component Studio. We are firmly in pre-alpha stage here, just writing the basic functionality of Component Studio number 2. And so I'm looking for feedback. If you see anything in here that's interesting to you or that's clearly needs more features or whatever, please leave comments. It will really help if you could give me some feedback. What I want to show you today is the font palette management system for Component Studio 2. So there are thousands of fonts that come with Component Studio. You can also upload your own. And obviously, dealing with thousands of fonts in the editor would be very challenging. So this is how you pare down that list of fonts to just the ones that are interesting for your project. You'll come into your game. We'll show the game editor later. Right now, we're just concerned with the font palette. We'll come into your game. Any fonts that you have already selected will be listed here, and you can remove some if you want to. You can also download them directly to your computer if you need to use them in another program that is outside of Component Studio. But the main event is when you click on this green button here. This brings you into the fonts system for Component Studio 2. And you can see a huge list of fonts that are already built into Component Studio 2. And this is actually just my demo machine, so there's actually more fonts in here, or there are more fonts out on actual Component Studio 2 than you'll even see here. Your palette is on the right-hand side over here. Your list of fonts is here, and then you have a whole bunch of search information. You can also quickly change what is being typed as the example here. So I can just type in, this is my own sentence or something of that nature. You can put in numbers, the alphabet, punctuation, and get quick samples of all of these different things for your viewing pleasure as you're looking at all these fonts. You can also increase the size of the font as you're looking around. I'm going to come back here with the default text that's in here, but like I said, you can adjust the size and all that kind of stuff. So that's your samples. Then you can search based on categories. So for example, you might only want to look at decorative fonts. So those would be ones that have kind of fancy strokes and things of that nature. And you can select around in there if you like. You can also choose based on weight. So maybe I only want bold fonts, and so it will show that, or maybe I want heavy fonts, and so it'll show, that. Maybe I'm looking for something really thin and light, so then we have those kind of things. So you can, do whatever kind of filtering based on weight that you want. You can also do normal versus italic styles. So here we're only looking at italic versus normal. And of course, you can look at any fonts that you have uploaded versus the ones that are just built in the system. Right now, I haven't uploaded any fonts yet, but we'll show that in just a minute. You can also search by name. So if I happen to know the name of a font, maybe I'm looking for something that starts with AB. I'll start searching that. And so now all the ones that have AB in the name will show up. Likewise, if I am searching through the list of fonts and I find, let's say I go over here and I find one that I really like it and I want to see all the styles of it. So I find this font here and I'm like, oh, this one's good. What other styles of this particular font family are there? I can click on the name and it will list off all of the members of that font family, including if there are multiple pages of it, so that you can quickly and easily look at all of those and get to just the one you are interested in. And you can always clear a search by just hitting that little button there. So you can very easily get through there and get the fonts you're looking for that way. It was suggested the last time I showed a couple screenshots of this that there should be a tagging system, so I have now added that. You can do that by just clicking on a tag if you see one, and it will limit the list of fonts to just what has that particular tag. The other way you can do it is to come up here and search by tag. And so I could just start typing like sci-fi, for example. The type ahead will populate the list of tags that match what I've typed so far. So then I can click on that, and it will show me all of the fonts that are in this tag. Now, the thing that's interesting here is that tagging is entirely up to you guys. So this is going to be a crowdsourced tagging system. So if you come through and you find a font and you're like, oh, this one is, let's say here, Alex Brush. I think this one is quirky. So I'm going to create a new, quirky, there we go. I'm going to create a new tag called quirky and assign it to that font. And then maybe other people will find quirky fonts as well and tag them. And so that way, as people browse around in here and they find other fonts that are interesting, let's make this one quirky just as an example. Quirky. There we go. Did I misspell it? Oh, I did misspell it. There we go. So I've added quirky there, and so now this one is quirky. So now if I click on quirky, it's showing me all of the quirky fonts. And so over time, these tags will help you help each other be able to find fonts more quickly based on however they've been tagged. So that's that. Oh, I didn't show actually adding something to a palette. So again, your palette is over here. You just hit this and now it is added to your palette. So if we go back out to the good game, it would be there as well. And so now these would be available in the editor, these particular fonts. The other thing you can do is you can upload your own fonts, and you can either hit this plus button and it'll bring you down here, or you can just scroll to the bottom of the page and there's the upload area. So here you just select a font from your computer like this, and you can type in the name. If you don't if you just leave it untitled, it's just going to take the file name of the font and name it. But I like to put in more descriptive names. So of course I like to also spell them correctly. So this font is called Alien League. It is sans serif. It's a normal weight. Actually, it's a little bit lighter than normal, so I'm going to put light, and then it's not italic. It's just a normal font. So we hit upload, and you can see that then gets added to the list of fonts here. It also got automatically added to my palette over here. And you'll see that there's a delete button on this one because I own this font. It is mine. So here, if I go up to owners and I click mine, it would have shown my font, except that I have quirky selected, and quirky is not tagged to that. So let me kill that, and there we go. Now it's showing my font, the only one I have uploaded to the system so far. So that is the font and font palette manager in Component.Studio 2 so far. Why don't you go ahead and leave some comments for me down in the comments below. I would really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.